Do you want to start with the games, or how do you want to do it?
Yeah, I can start and we can just take turns. Um, I kind of already went a couple of times. Sonic the Hedgehog, and man, that whole event they did really hurt my heart. But Sonic was the very first game, and I remember this for a fact. The very first game that I ever played, Sega Genesis, 1991. I was born. Man, I had to have been like
A long time ago.
man, and I had to have been like 4 or 5 when I played that shit. But the very first game I ever played, and when I played it, I knew in my heart I was never gonna not play games. That shit was the bomb. It wasn't like the very first game I had for sure. I know I had like Sonic, I had Mortal Kombat, I had there was another fighting game. It was like Tournament of Champions or some shit. I don't remember what that game is called. I have to look for it. I'm pretty sure I do still have it. And then I had a bunch of Disney games like Aladdin, Lion King, fucking Toy Story. And them shits are hard. If you've ever played a Disney game, man, and beat it, you are fucking God. I can't be friends with you. I'm not even allowed to look at you. But Sonic the Hedgehog, very first game I played, and I wouldn't be here without it.
Yeah, I don't really remember the very first game I played. I just know that we had a Sega Genesis. The earliest thing I remember might have been Sonic, or it might have been Shaq Fu.
Oh
Or
man,
it could have even have been. I remember playing Shaq Fu,
yeah.
but I didn't understand what was going on.
Oh man, I bought it again for the PlayStation 4, and I
Uh,
still don't understand what's going on. But
yeah, and they got what was it that my family got? I think Streets of Rage too.
yeah,
But yeah, we're talking about games that made us. I can't really talk about that period like you can, but I think I think the two games that really like caught my interest. No, I can't even talk about that yet because we were on Nintendo 64. I had that before PS1.
I mean,
Nintendo
you
64.
can talk about them in whatever order you want. I just chose Sonic, like I said, because that was the very first one that it made the biggest impression on me. Like I said, I knew that's when I was going to be a gamer, 100%.
Right. I think I knew when I played Yoshi's Story and Banjo Kazooie on Nintendo 64, and then I seen Pokemon Stadium at multiple stores, like Sears. There's a mall that no longer, or not a mall. It's a
It's
place
like
that
an
no
outlet
longer
store,
exists.
department store.
I don't think. Yeah, it's like a department store. Um, then what else? There was so much on the 64. GoldenEye, Diddy Kong Racing.
Man,
Yeah, I only owned when I was a kid though. I only owned Yoshi's Story. Mario 64 was another one I wish I had. I never owned it. I only owned Yoshi's Story, I believe. And I always wanted Banjo Kazooie and Mario 64. I thought Mario Kart was good, but Yoshi's Story is where I got my start for the most part.
right, right. The fact that we had to explain Sears bothers me. We're not that old.
Explain what?
Sears.
Sears?
Yeah.
Well, no, yeah, but Sears, I don't think has been active in the Midwest for a while.
I don't think they've been, I think they're done in general, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't know how many years ago it's been, but our malls stopped having Sears like fucking plenty of years
Yeah,
ago
it's been a
before the mall
while.
even fucking got shut down.
Man,
Like, probably a decade before the mall got shut down, to be really
probably,
honest.
yeah. God damn, we are that old, huh?
I
I
don't
don't
know if
like
it's
that.
old, it's just shit shut down, man. We live in a fucked up area.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, did you want to go next, or are we going to expand upon influences?
Uh, I said what I had to say about Sonic. You can keep going if you wanted to. It don't matter. If you have more to say about it, you know.
Well, Yoshi's Story, and you know what? I might not. I don't know if it was Yoshi's Story I owned because it was a long time ago, but I feel like it was Yoshi's Story because I didn't have Yoshi's Story. I actually bought it
Right.
a couple of years ago again, but it's something that all those games just shared was they lit a spark in me. Mischief Makers was a game that I fucked with when I was a kid. I used to rent a bunch. It was the colors and everything. Snowboard Kids. I just keep coming up with new shit. You know, um, yeah, it was the colors, the 3D polygons and all that shit. It just drove me nuts. And you know, even though Yoshi's Story was largely 2D, like I just thought that everything going on was so cool. You know, everything's moving. Some things with mean faces are getting messed up by eggs. You know, it just, I don't know, it just lit up some serotonin in my brain. Like I was just so happy. You know?
Right.
Happiness is what I would call that. Just joy and delight I got from the game. You know, and what's the next one for you?
Oh man. Uh, Speaking of 64, you brought up Super Mario 64. I'm gonna bring up Quest 64. That's what got me into Western RPGs, I guess you could say. Uh, and I guess it's kind of weird to think because I guess every Western game is a Western RPG when you think about it. It's, you know, you're playing a role in a game. But uh, for the sake of for the sake of a story-based game like that, I guess I would say Quest 64. And I don't remember jack shit about Quest 64. Let me say that. But like Sonic, I do know that it was big enough for me. That's when I was really into, or getting into, I guess I should say, story stuff when it comes to games. Uh, and that's not to say that games like Super Mario 64 didn't have a story. Like it did, obviously. Your Super Mario 64, everybody knows that shit. But
Yeah, of course.
I don't know. At the time, I wasn't very aware of very many story-based games, and actually, I don't remember how much of a story Quest 64 had to it.
I don't think I've heard of that fucking game.
Oh man, it was actually terrible. I remember that. But man,
Was it your jam?
say what?
It was your jam.
Yeah, for being back then, yeah, as young as I was, and like I'm easy to please now, I think. But I mean, being a child, you know, playing video games with as much time as I had for video games, I was. I'd like to say, or I'd like to think I was that much more easier to please, if that makes sense. So I had fun with it.
Yeah, of course. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing Pokemon Snap. Then you just need to get psycho-evaluated.
I played Pokemon Snap like one time back on the
No,
64, and I had fun with
no,
it, but it wasn't
no.
like, oh, this is life altering, you know?
Man, that shit was enough for me the first time I seen it at Blockbuster with that piss yellow fucking Nintendo 64. I was like, nah. Pokemon. Why don't you guys have Pokemon Stadium?
uh,
Uh, uh, was that it for Quake?
Quake. Quest 64?
My bad.
No, yeah, that's about it.
I'm trying to think of like PS1 games. I think, you know, definitely Crash and Spyro. Like, Spyro gave me my sense of like story, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, because it wasn't really like the story was like groundbreaking, but you know, you get to Spyro 2, and there's all these cutscenes. You talk to so many people, and they tell you what's going on. One of the first games where you don't have to read every fucking thing; they just tell you what you need to do. And
Right.
that impacted me on voice acting and platforming as well. Crash impacted me on both of sort of like rivals, and I was like, I don't care what you guys do. I like both of the games. And around that time period, I would say, yeah, I got into fighting games because my cousins used to beat me up in them, specifically Tekken 2 and Tekken 3. And I used to be in awe because of all the sparks and flashes that happen when, you know, you hit somebody hard. And I couldn't play with the damn back then, but, you know, none of them want to play me now because I get revenge. But, man, that impacted me on fighting games. So did Gundam Battle Assault. Like, there's so much on PS1 to go through, but I would have to say the franchises that impacted me the most during the PS1 era were definitely Crash, Spyro, Tekken, not in any particular order. Crash, Spyro, Tekken, Soul Blade, which became Soul Calibur, and I'm trying to think, because I didn't really have that many PS1 games. I rented a hell of a bunch of them. Oh, and Mega Man X, even though I started with Super Nintendo,
Yeah.
X series heavily impacted me.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
You're asking about X series or?
Oh, what's your next thing?
Oh, okay.
It's mostly platformers and like a couple fighters for me.
Right. No. If I had to choose a game from that era, I guess I would. As far as influencing me goes, like that, another Sonic game, Sonic 3D. I think that was another game that. That's not really on topic. I mean, it's a good game. I appreciated them moving forward with being 3D. You know, with the whole platforming and stuff like that. I don't remember if that game had any voice acting in it or not, but it was still pretty good for. I think it was a good step ahead for Sonic Team and their games. For the next game on my list, the games, you know, like I said, why I'm here for that topic. Final Fantasy VII. That game is what got me in the JRPGs.
Oh, how could I forget about that? Yeah, that got me into JRPGs too, and we talk about it all the fucking time.
And I know, and like I do feel bad bringing it up, but I also don't because honestly, if our audience didn't see it coming, then you're fucking fools. But
That's what we're here for.
man,
That one was the jam. So much was the jam actually.
man, and I'll go ahead and just say the remake. I'll couple it in there with the original for obvious reasons.
Right, obviously. Was that it for that section for you?
Yeah, because if I get into it, that'll be the rest of the pod.
It'll turn into a Final Fantasy VII video.
Right.
So I think PS2 was like, well, nah, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Dreamcast was my shit. It's too bad it was short-lived, but Sonic Adventure, that lit my fire for Sonic because I barely remember Sonic. And then the Dreamcast came out with the Jam Pack, so that motherfucker had Sonic the Hedgehog preloaded in it. Couldn't save the game, so I never really beat it. But I was like, damn, Sonic is cool.
Right.
And in the demo, well, actually, we got the Dreamcast from my dad. We had the demo for Sonic Adventure, and it was like, oh shit, this is, Emo Coast. Not Emo Coast, or was it Emo Coast? Yeah, it was Emo Coast, I believe, the first stage. Man, that shit blew my mind because it just looked better than anything else. It looked better than Spyro, Crash, anything I had seen at the time. And I was like, I can't believe games look this good. I can't believe Sonic moves this fast.
Right.
I can't believe there are other characters that you'll be able to play with in the game.
Right.
Like, there was just so much going on in Sonic Adventure. And that game is coveted to this date. People love Sonic Adventure. They want Sega to make another one. Sega's being hard-headed, I guess, is the best thing I could say, for lack of a better word right now. And it just changed a lot of things. Sonic Sonic Adventure 2 did as well. I didn't play Soul Calibur when I was a kid. I bought it when I was an adult because I didn't know that Soul Blade changed its name, which I still think was dumb. And what else did I have on Dreamcast? Virtua Tennis. Me and my dad and my brother used to play that shit. We didn't even like tennis, but it was an addicting game.
Right.
Power Stone, like, yo.
Power Stone. Oh man.
Because I didn't have Smash Brothers because my brother had sold my fucking Nintendo 64 like a dick. And, you know, Power Stone was like, holy shit, this is like so, not user friendly, but the barrier for playing this game just seems like it's less.
Right.
And it seems like it's just fun. Anybody can get on Power Stone and have some fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's a shame Capcom hasn't made another one yet, but yeah.
I would buy another Power Stone. Like I'm not into fighters as much as you are, but I would buy another Power Stone.
What else did they have? I played Sonic Shuffle on there, regrettably. There was a lot on Dreamcast I never got a chance to experience.
Yeah.
House of the Dead was fun.
House of the Dead is. I love that shit.
Yeah, Dreamcast was good for a lot of great arcade ports. You know, when it came to PS1, some things had to get cut out of some games, like Street Fighter 2, for instance, Super Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
But, you know, you get games like, systems like the Dreamcast, and they had a lot of great arcade ports. Too bad I couldn't experience all of them, but, you know, I hear that's the place to play Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Yeah.
But, yo, Dreamcast was a motherfucker. That opened my eyes, because that's when I truly seen large advancement. Because you can compare apples to oranges with the 64 and the PS1. It's like, whatever, you know, it's similar.
Right.
But you get the fucking Dreamcast and it's like a whole different thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I wish that's something they would do again. Is more arcade ports for shit.
Yeah. What I wish they'd do is make another fucking console. You know.
Yeah.
But I don't trust in Sega's abilities.
No. No.
I think me, when it comes to Dreamcast, I guess.
Man, you brought up House of the Dead, and that's definitely man, and that's definitely one that's shaped me. I guess I love horror games. House of the Dead was probably my first horror game. Now, I don't know that I loved it back then, but it definitely got my curiosity going for it. I don't know that I would have played a lot of the horror games that I play now without it. Fucking Silent Hill. I don't know which of those two games are older, but if I'd have played Silent Hill before House of the Dead and experienced Pyramid Head, anybody who knows me, I am fucking afraid of Pyramid Head. 100%. Like, that is an actual fear that I have. I'm afraid of needles, and I'm afraid of Pyramid Head on the same exact level. I don't want to see this dude anywhere for any reason at all. But I feel like if I'd have played that game first, I never would have touched another horror game again in my life. House of the Dead kind of was that?
I still don't like touching horror games.
Oh man, I love them, and I will say House of the Dead is the reason why I love zombie games in general. Like Zombie Army 4. I just got into that, but I love it. GTFO, anybody who has Steam, play that shit so I have somebody to play with. The Evil Within, Not House of the Dead, Resident Evil, you know. House of the Dead is why I love zombie games in general, I guess I should say, not just horror games.
Have you ever played Zombie Revenge?
No.
This is why you need to get Parsec.
Right.
and each character would have like a weapon, but like you'd be able to like fight the zombies and shit, but you want to shoot them because they're dangerous. That
Right.
shit gave me nightmares. Like I used to have to stay at my uncle's because my mom and dad, because the hours they worked
Right.
or whatever. So me and my brother would stay at my uncle's, I think, if I remember correctly. And man, my older cousin, we would just every time, because we didn't really have a lot of common. He was like fucking 7 years, well, no, about 5 years older than me. So like anything I say is not cool to him, you know. So I'd be like, hey, you want to play some House of the Dead? You're like, yeah. And I was like, it was like a bonding thing, you know.
Right.
Oh, that reminds me, Fighting Force on PS1. That's an old school beat 'em up on PS1 that I love. We used to play that shit together. But yeah, me and the same cousin that would play Fighting Force would play House of the Dead, and he also had Zombie Revenge. And Zombie Revenge was a fucking boss that's just like all cut up and has swords and chainsaws and shit through his body. It was horrifying as a kid, man. Zombies to this day. Anything like that, I won't play Resident Evil. I got Resident Evil 2 Remake, and I got as far as the dogs, and I was like, I'm good. Fucking Lickitung disturbed me.
Oh man.
Yeah, but yeah, Zombie Revenge. I'm gonna send you some gameplay of that later, but please continue.
All right. No, that's funny. I didn't know that about you. Not having finished Resident Evil 2. That's fucking hilarious.
No, I haven't finished it yet. Like me and my girlfriend were playing it together for the scares, and then you know one thing or another we just sort of fell off on playing it, and man, one day she left and I continued on without her, and I had the fucking dogs.
Oh
That
man.
motherfucking dog jumped the fence
Oh.
in a room that was like.
I know. Yeah, I know the room you're talking about.
Oh, nigga.
Oh shit.
I killed it, and then I went back into it was a parking garage. I
Yeah.
went back into the parking garage, there was 3 more of them motherfuckers.
I was gonna
like,
say,
oh,
yeah. Oh shit.
What would you do in that situation, man? You'd die.
Man. And I think I did the first time I did it because I wasn't expecting the other dogs. But, oh man. That game freaked me out too, for sure. Especially the dogs and, like you called it, the fucking Lickitung.
Yeah,
The liquor. It's actually called the liquor, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I don't like that thing, but man said he quit. Oh shit. Hey, but you know what? I'm not even gonna make fun of you for it because I got a couple of games like that.
I was finished.
Man.
Bro. I was like, nah, I don't think I will. I don't think I'm good. I spent like $60 on this game, but or was it 50? It came out 50. I spent $50 on this game, but I don't think I can play this anymore.
Man. Oh shit. Okay, yeah. So like I brought up House of the Dead as my horror game thing. Like I said, that's the game that got me into zombies. But my horror game, it's another zombie game. It's Hunter the Reckoning for fucking GameCube. And you know, like you're talking about how the dogs made you say nope. All right, so I think it's like the second boss to that game. It's a big ass zombie teddy bear, but that was the boss that made me say nope to that game. I cannot and will not play that game anymore past that boss because absolutely not.
You know, I totally understand. I totally understand.
Man, that shit. He was no, because now I'm remembering and I don't want to do that. But man, fuck that boss, 100%.
Yeah. We've been on horror for a bit. Is it my turn or yours? It was yours. It was yours.
Yeah. Okay.
I think.
Shit, I don't know. I'm still thinking about the fucking teddy bear again. You brought up some shit. um, whatever. Let me try and move on. Um,
If you want to think about it, I'll fill
I
in.
don't want to think about it at all.
I mean, the next game.
oh, okay, yeah. If you're ready to go, you can go ahead and go because I'm stuck now. I fucked up.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yo, PS2, SSX Tricky. I don't know what it was about SSX Tricky, but back in the 90s, it was like, 90s and early 2000s, it was like really cool to do like an extreme sport. You know, like you skateboard, oh man, you're so rad.
Right.
You skate, you inline skate, you fucking dog. I never did I think too much about snowboarding unless I was watching Rocket Power. But SSX Tricky, I'll never forget. We went to my cousin's place. This dude had fucking everything. He had a PS2, he had a Dreamcast, motherfucker had an Xbox when they came out. Insane.
Right.
Man, that dude. I got on SSX Tricky. I was so fucking delighted. Yo, why is it so fun? You know, I love the fantasy element in that game that just, it just makes snowboarding really cool.
Right.
Doing the cool tricks that you shouldn't be doing or you'll break your neck. Awesome. I didn't talk enough about Pokemon Stadium, but I guess I don't really need to. I like Pokemon, but, who doesn't really?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up, but like you said, who doesn't like Pokemon? So.
Right. Um, but yeah, PS2, Zone of the Enders, and Tekken Tag, huge influences to me. Because remember what I said about how Sonic blew my mind?
Yeah.
Sonic Adventure for the Dreamcast compared to PS1?
Yeah.
No. When I went to Sam Goody, that was the name of the fucking outlet in the mall.
Right.
It had a bunch of electronic stuff, CDs. It was like, what's the name of that store? I something, FYE.
Oh yeah.
For your entertainment. It was basically like for your entertainment FYE before FYE existed.
Right.
And I remember I used to get my Dragon Ball Z tapes from there because you get the shit like 2 months before that episode even come out. Yeah, uncut too. It was nuts. But man, they had the demo, PS2 demo. I was like, "What's that?" My brother was like, "That's PS2. That's the next one." I was like, "For real?"
Yo.
Looking back on it now, there's 5 of them, but I was like, "For real?"
Yo, and I know that feeling. Yo, that's a dope ass feeling. I miss it.
Yeah. Me too.
It's gonna be another one.
Yeah.
This shit gonna get better.
Surely this is gonna be the last one. It's so good.
Right.
But Zone of the Enders, boy, man.
Oh
I
man.
played that fucking demo. I wanted to go to the mall every day to play that demo. It just felt so good. The combat felt so good. The character was moving really fast, or the mech was moving really fast, and it was just something of, it was just sheer joy, And I would go to our local, like, what was it? A kid theme park, like, not a theme park, but putt golf.
Yeah.
Putt golf, and they had a demo of Tekken Tag 1, and this may not sound crazy, but Tekken Tag 1 looked like a PS1 game on the arcade cabinet. And if you look up arcade footage, somebody's emulated it. It looks like Tekken 3, and the Tekken 2 characters got updated because it had every character up until that point. So, that was cool. I was like, oh, you can tag the character. All the characters are back. Listen, when that game came out on PS2, that shit looked like a completely different game. I swear to God. That shit looked like they maximized what they could do with a PS2 at the time. And look it up. I'll send you screenshots. The shit looks so crazy good. You even got like the praise for the blades of grass in one stage. You know, that's how good it looked for the time.
Right.
So Tekken Tag 1, I know I said Tekken franchise, but that impacted me a lot because it's like, man, look at what they can do from here to there. And, you know, the story, there was no stories, well, it was not canon. And when I seen the endings, it was like, damn, these models look so good. It's just what I can expect. Then they went with CG for the rest of the series, I think. But then some of the enders, going back to that, impressive looking game. Crazy impressive for the time it came out.
Right.
And not much longer they had a second game come out of it. And I'm trying to think, Kingdom Hearts? That's one we both share, I know.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm talking too much. Let's get into it. Like, go ahead.
Man, Kingdom Hearts. Oh, that's... Oh. That's one that, you know, I would have been happy just including that with Final Fantasy VII, but I don't think I should. Because that's... While I waited 20 years for Final Fantasy VII to be remade, how long did we have to wait for 3 to come out? You know, I waited that long for a fucking sequel to a game. And despite all the things about it that I don't like, you know, like they left all the Final Fantasy characters out, and there's some camera issues that I have with it and other stuff, but whatever. I still love the shit out of 3. You know, I know there are a lot of people who don't feel the same as me, but I love the shit out of 3. I'm not going to be playing any more Kingdom Hearts games. Nomura he's working on a whole nother arc. You know, he said that the Xehanort saga is done. So that's good enough for me. I've played Kingdom Hearts. That's where I stand on it. I don't think I will survive waiting on another trilogy to come out. Like I think I'll be too old.
That's far too much. Yeah. And you know, Japanese developers are so ambitious. They say that I can almost hear that motherfucker saying something like, "Oh, Kingdom Hearts, that whole arc with Xehanort was only 10% of the story that I'm planning."
100%, I believe it.
I'm exhausted even thinking about Kingdom Hearts. It's not, when you play Kingdom Hearts consecutively, it's, you know, it's easy to understand, but when you have gaps in information and gaps in time, and
multiple games across multiple platforms, it's too much.
Yeah, and then they combine them all to one platform, and I made us think about this years ago. Like, it sucks that they took that long to do it because I lost interest in playing those games, and then I had to gain the interest back before Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, I didn't care about Dream Drop Distance. I didn't care about Bird by Sleep, but I was wrong to not care about one of those. Obviously, Bird by Sleep. Bird by Sleep is probably that Kingdom Hearts
one of the best ones.
Series.
Yeah.
Peak of the series. I don't know what Dream Drop Distance is or 3, but you know, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kingdom Hearts, boy. So many heart-wrenching moments for me. You know, not heart-wrenching, but it was touching.
Yeah.
You know, in a way a Disney film is touching, I'm sure to you it was touching watching and playing Kingdom Hearts. Especially because, you know, we never got voice acting to that degree in any game. At least I didn't. I don't know about you.
No, I think that was probably like my first JRPG that had any type of real voice acting to it.
Right.
I'm thinking, you're talking about touching moments, and every time somebody literally brings up like touching moments, like verbatim, those choice words, I think about Woody in Kingdom Hearts 3 talking about the Xehanort that they fought. And he was like, you just didn't have anybody that ever loved you. And I'm like, damn, bro, that hurts. Like that literally is the first scene that popped into my head. But
I think the first thing that pops into my head was when Sora sacrificed himself to give Kairi her heart back.
Yes.
And I was like, he's down bad.
Oh no.
Sora's a simp.
Oh
His name should have been Simp.
shit.
Oh man.
Man. Nah, I don't think he's a simp. I mean, obviously he liked her a lot, but I mean, it's not like she don't like him back. So I mean, I can't qualify him as a simp for that. A simp,
No,
you're being a simp if you're doing shit like that for a girl that just don't like you.
Yeah, Riku was a simp.
Yeah, I'll say that.
Well, I wouldn't say she didn't like him, but like just not letting it.
Not on that level, yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Oh man.
You said my man's was a simp. Oh no.
He fell on his own sword.
Say,
Riku's sword. It was like, alright, I'm about to risk it all.
oh shit.
Yeah. But I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're good. That was worth it. That was a good laugh.
Yeah.
Man, Kingdom Hearts. I tell you what though, what made me this because they brought in Pandora's Box in 3, and then like they didn't bring it up again until the end. Like if they'd have got me more interested throughout the game, I'd probably be more open to playing the future games that are coming because they are coming. You can't tell me they're not. But for them to just bring it up like literally in the end credits like they did, I don't care. Like I said, the Xehanort Saga's over. That was the story for me. Pandora's Box, you're cool, I guess. I literally don't know. So,
Care less.
yeah.
Care less either. Like Xehanort, like we were talking about, like that saga helped build us. Kingdom Hearts 2. When you play games like that, they really set a standard.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Was there another one you want to talk about? I didn't mean to like put you on the same track as me with like the chronological.
No, it's fine because I'm glad you did, especially with Kingdom Hearts. Because like I said, Final Fantasy VII put me on the path for JRPGs, but Kingdom Hearts is definitely one that stands out, especially like with Square Enix. I can give you a couple of titles from Square Enix that shaped me when it comes to JRPGs, but Kingdom Hearts is definitely top 3.
100%.
Yeah.
Any more?
Or
do you want me to go?
It don't matter. I'm trying to. I had one in my head that I was going to use, and then you put me on Kingdom Hearts 3, and we got to talking about that, and I forgot. MMOs, because that's another big one for me. Final Fantasy 14 is my big one now, but the one that got me started on MMOs, and I'm pretty sure this is a big one for most people, is WoW. Before that, I guess it would be Dungeon Fighter, but I didn't play it as an MMO. Like, I didn't play with other people. I always ran that shit by myself. But World of Warcraft is definitely, I would say technically it's my first MMO, and it's another game that got me into storytelling for sure. But man, that's another game I could go on for a good while about. WoW, I have way too much time into that game, and I haven't played it in a while. I haven't played it heavy since the second expansion, Burning Crusade. I think they're on like their 5th or 6th now. I don't know. They keep putting out expansions and they look interesting, and I want to get back into it, but then I realized that I don't have the time for it, and I don't want to play the game and get addicted to it like I was and make time for it. So,
Right.
Final Fantasy 14 has been a good replacement for me when it comes to that. It's a great game. It's better than WoW, but I also don't feel that need that I did with. I was real bad about WoW. I sacrificed sleep for WoW.
I was there. I was there.
Man, it was not good. You talk about down bad. That shit, man.
Man, you was out there putting them hours in. I remember coming in there, you had bags under your eyes. I'm like, man,
It,
you only 32 years old.
man, it wasn't good. It looking back on it, every time I look back on it, I'm like, damn, bro, you really did that shit. But
No, you couldn't, man, as long as you had fun.
and I did for sure. But goddamn, that ought to be illegal. You know, like with Dungeon Fighter, how they have that system in place where you can't play on a certain character after you deplete that little bar or whatever. I kind of wish they'd have did that with WoW.
Yeah. Hey, I completely understand, man. I completely understand. Um, yeah, you used to be in that, man. You and your nephews.
Man, hell, Isaac too for a minute. We we were all in it.
He was in that, huh? I forgot
Yeah,
all about that.
he wasn't in it. Well, I don't want to say he wasn't in it as bad as me because he definitely played as much as I did. But I think it was easier for him to put down than it was for me to put down. And I think he did put it down before I did, actually.
Well, uh, did you have any more to add about WoW?
No, like
I
I,
had
cause
a few
I'll
others,
get
but
into
we'll
it if
wind
I
it
do.
down.
Yeah.
Shit. Because we're on the PS2 era for me. I forgot to mention Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur is just gonna be just automatically think of it, man. That and Bloody Roar. Bloody Roar. Yeah, I didn't even talk about the GameCube. I forgot about that. You got a GameCube. During those years, I would play with. This was my first time owning a Pokemon game, actually. That was in a traditional sense a Pokemon game. It was the first game I got, I believe, was Coliseum. And the second Pokemon game I owned was Sapphire. My mom got it for me, and I got my dad to get me Ruby because I thought they would be different because I didn't know any fucking better. And they are. There's a couple.
Yeah. The Pokemon and the legend. Yeah, Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, man, whatever. But they took up a lot of my time, and I didn't even know I wasn't playing very good at all back in the day. But skipping that, Mario Sunshine was my favorite Mario game. Like, I know that Anubis thinks it's pretty meth, but boy, Mario Sunshine was my shit. Like,
I don't think it was mad. Like I enjoy it pretty well too. Like you were saying, it's probably one of my favorite games. Um, I'm trying to think. I feel like there was one that I did like more than that, but I can't think of it. So I guess there wasn't.
yeah, I mean, I thought you liked Odyssey more, but
I haven't played Odyssey yet. I have it part of that Switch package, but I haven't played Odyssey yet.
gotcha. But coming off of 64, Sunshine was such an improvement to me, and it just looked good. And the GameCube was good about that. I think that's something that's sort of underrated or like put under the radar too much for people. The GameCube, I believe, had the best hardware of that generation,
It did.
and it showed. You
Yeah.
know, um, Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes looks good. Resident Evil 4, that was a definitive way to play that game, but we're not talking about that the GameCube as a whole. I'm talking about the shit I played during that era, because I had gotten the Game Boy Advance as well. Mega Man Zero X series, it was really good
Yeah.
because it wasn't to the same standard as an X game, but it was good enough, and that really helped me through a period of where I needed games like that because it was a dry spell for the X games until X7, but we'll talk about that later. Yeah, Bloody Roar Primal Fury, definitive way to play for Bloody Roar as a fighting game I grew up with, and that helped shape me as a fighting game player. All the fighting games do.
Right.
But anyway, I want to get to the shits since, we've been at this for a bit. GameCube, I'm going to have to step over that. Oh, Smash Brothers, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Melee, that was my first Smash Brothers I owned. Probably my favorite, too.
Yeah, I think that's probably everybody's favorite. Like people, my bad, I didn't mean to cut you off, but people like Ultimate, but Melee that's just everybody's favorite.
Yeah. Because, why not? Like, there was so much that improved from 64 to Melee, it was nuts. And there was so many cool characters.
Yeah.
I never owned the 64 one, but, the gallery in Melee, I could just spend time in the gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of those modes.
That's a game that also influenced, like, what I considered, it influenced, like, how much I appreciate content,
Yeah.
And a lot of the games I've mentioned have. Like, I'll mention Tekken 5 for PS2. It had a story mode that was pretty good. Tekken 4 did as well. They were both pretty good. But, Tekken 5 had, like, Tekken 4 had this, too. I forgot about that. They had a mode where you could, like, play, like, a beat-em-up Tekken Force on Tekken 4, which came from Tekken 3. And on Tekken 5, they had, like, just one character you could play with, but it was still content. And, they added customization in Tekken 5. They had the arcade version of Tekken 1, 2, and 3 on the disc for Tekken 5. So when I think about content, I think about games like that, Soul Calibur 3, Zone of the Enders, Super Mario Sunshine, and et cetera, et cetera. Like, the list just goes on.
Right.
But, yeah, definitely. PS3, I kind of want to get to that, but you got any more to say? I feel like I keep listening a bunch.
No, you're good. This will probably be my last one that I can think of off the top of my head. But pretty much any game that's, and we're kind of going to get back on The Last of Us Part 2 here. But any game that's like inclusive of anybody that's not a straight white guy. Because you don't see a lot of it. And, right. I'm playing a game on Switch right now, Raji, if that's how you say it, Ragi, I think is actually how you say it. I'm sorry for butchering it. Indivisible. Indivisible is great now that I'm actually playing it.
You're into it and you're getting. How far are you? Just real quick.
I just beat the Serpent Queen. I gotta go through. Oh, I forget what the other area is called. I want to call them knights, but they're not really knights. And then there's like 2 areas I gotta go through still. But I just beat the Serpent Queen. Yeah.
Show up over there so we can we need some dual content, some content together.
Yeah, I remember we wanted to do Returnal, but we'll figure something out here soon. And we can do a whole Let's Play series on that, because I think that would be nice to have on the channel. But games like those in general, like I said, that are just inclusive, like I said, POC, hell, The Last of Us, Part 1 and 2, gay characters, trans characters, all that shit. It's just not something that you see a lot of. And it's One, because I legitimately think that people just don't think to put them in games. Number one, that's number one. There's multiple reasons. Number two, the content creators that do want to do it, they don't have the funding, which there's reasons for that, but I won't get
Yeah.
into that. And then you've got the people out there who just fucking hate seeing those games. Like
Yeah.
literally because they're those games.
Exactly.
So, I mean, every time I see a game like that that comes out, I make it a point to at least look into it. Like Ragi, uh, I seen that in the Nintendo store, and I added it to my wish list before I even knew what the shit was about. Like I just, and if when I see games like that star like black people and stuff, I buy that shit off rip, just because like the game can be absolute trash. You'll never know that I played it, but I will buy it and play it, just because there's not a lot of them out there, and that's in any media capacity. There's just not enough.
What about Black Sad?
Oof.
What
You
you think
know,
about that?
that's
That
a game that I kind of want to do for the channel, if I'm being honest with you, but I also don't want anything to do with it.
he don't be Black and Sad.
Man, that shit just, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that game.
I don't know either, man. Me either.
Oh,
Uh,
man.
yeah.
Whew.
Indeed. Yeah. I don't even think we need to go to PS3 because, like, we're pretty much like, adults, young adults by that time. I think everything we described was good enough. I like Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto for obvious reasons. I
Yeah.
think that they're smooth. Um, what's the word I'm looking for? A combination of comedy and dialogue really, really, really put that game over those two games over the top.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a bunch of games I'm forgetting, but man, there's just so many that helped me get to the point where I'm at right now.
Right.
If I had to mention some PS3 games, I guess The Last of Us, um, Blaze Blue, and Persona Ultimax, because Persona Ultimax is one of those games that was a spinoff of Persona, which is an RPG. I would have never gotten into Persona if it wasn't for that.
Right.
Spinoffs are important. Persona 4 I didn't like so much, but 5 was really good.
Yeah.
It opened up another avenue for me because I wouldn't look twice at Persona if I didn't know anything about the characters. But now I know what it's about and how SMT games get down. I'll buy the new ones, if it's feasible.
Right. And that's, yeah, 5, Persona 5, that's one that I'm glad that I got into. I wish I'd gotten into it day one, like most everybody else. But I'm glad that I got into it because that's the first one that I've played. So that was a great experience for me. And Royale really boosted that too, I'll say.
We gotta talk about Royale and how good it is because it's like it's weird because my friend, he has a PS5 as well and he bought Royale and he forgot that he had Persona 5 for free and I told him because the PlayStation whatever. I told him that you might as well just play Royale, but if you play Persona 5 and then play Royale, you will understand like how good of an upgrade Royale is. I don't get me wrong, I still don't think it's worth like fucking full $50 or $60, however much it came up to. But
Right.
For a person like me that got it for 30, and then you got all the DLC from the previous game, and then you got like probably like I don't know, like what did you say, like 15, 20 extra hours of content maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, around that. Probably closer
Yeah,
to 15.
yeah, like I think that it's a great game. Um, but yeah, without the influence of Ultimax or Persona Arena, I don't know if I would have even messed with it. But yeah, I think we're gonna have to wrap it up.
Yeah, we're at like an hour 20. uh, damn. Yeah.
All right,
Uh,
everybody.
yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Uh, see you next time.